NieR Replicant, a wholesome action-adventure game about saving your loved one and making the best of friends along the way, to an inevitable final encounter in which you save a world from a big baddie. Oh, one sec, I gotta take this. Hello? Yeah. Oh. Oh, right, my bad. Sorry folks, turns out I was thinking about Zelda. I better give myself a little refresher. Okay, my initial blurb may have been a bit off. The year is 2016, I'm in my first year of school, college, university, and a pal of mine in my Japanese class shows me a gameplay video of an intriguing demo that just came out for the PS4. This was for NieR Automata, which I thought looked cool, but I was deep into my Final Fantasy 15 craze and forgot all about it as soon as I returned to my dorm. Fast forward a year later, and my roommate and I are discussing games we'd like to play soon, and once more the subject of Automata came up. And it just so happens my friend's birthday was around the corner, so I bought it for her, but we didn't end up playing it for some time. It was only after we discussed the deep lore of the game one evening and ended up watching a bunch of videos discussing how Automata wasn't only a sequel to the original NieR, but NieR itself a spin-off to the Replicant series, which I'd never heard of before since I was an ignorant little Nintendo kid. But a lot of questions were answered when we viewed Clems's and Valkyrie Aurora's analyses of these games. Go check them out if you haven't. And after all that viewing, I was obsessed with finding out more of this universe, and so we played Automata in 40 of the greatest, most upsetting hours of my life. Fast forward to 2020, the world is on figurative fire, we're deep into a lockdown, and I was having a pretty bad case of the not okays, and was desperately in need of some good news. Little did I know the good news I needed came from this man, Yoko Taro. Remember him, he'll be important later. The news being that the original NieR was getting a remake, or re-release, or rewiring, or whatever you want to call it, Mr. Skeleman. However, we wouldn't be getting a remake of this ugly mug, but rather the version that was only available in Japan, which featured a pretty boy protagonist instead of Papa McBrickton over here, which is why I was pretty thrilled about it, honestly. Not that I have anything against the father character, I just prefer the design of a brother. Fast forward once more to April 22nd, 5 minutes to midnight. I'm staring at the countdown on my PlayStation pre-order, which would allow me to play as soon as it came out. These were 5 of the slowest minutes in my life. That's how excited I was to fill in a hole in my heart that Automata left behind. And like that, midnight struck. I booted up the game, and once more over the course of about a week, I experienced a whole new level of existential dread, and I loved every second of it. Now that I've had some time to stew with my thoughts on the game, I believe I can now dive into a deeper analysis review for NieR Replicant. So of course, there'll be heavy spoilers for both NieR Replicant and Automata ahead. You have been warned, so please do yourself a favor and play this gem of a series, but if you'd rather watch me ramble on about it, then all power to you, pal. Alright, let's friggin' go! Our tale begins at the beautiful snowy season of summer in the year 2049. The year 2053. And before we even start the game, it appears that shit has truly hit the fan. Our titular hero, which for the sake of simplicity we'll call NieR, is squatting in an abandoned supermarket, presumably trying to get his caffeine fix, but was unsuccessful considering how sleepy the poor boy is. In fact, he's so sleepy he thinks a book is talking to him. And like one is taught to do in kindergarten, if you hear a book speak, kick the ever-living shit out of it.
Goddamn book!
As if his day wasn't bad enough, our poor boy is attacked by some lanky shadow-looking things. I must fight them off with nothing but an old rusty pipe. Despite the odds stacked against him, he manages to hold off the shadowy pricks, otherwise known as shades. We were soon brought to the attention of a young girl coughing in the back room. This is NieR's younger sister, Yona. She's going to act as most of the motivation for NieR's actions throughout the game, but we'll get more into that later. Yona is understandably concerned about the Shades returning, and being the good older brother he is, NieR reassures her that all will be well.
But what about those monsters? Are they gonna come back for me?
Don't worry, Yona. I won't let those things anywhere near you.
But before returning to keep watch, NieR orders Yona to never ever touch that black book that they both possess. Which brings me to question how they got this far with the books without touching them, but oh well. The Shades return and proceed to beat the ever-living shit out of our boy. So he desperately decides to make a deal with the creepy tome, which grants him the power to punch our foes into oblivion.
I need I need to protect Yona. Stay away from my sister.
I'll take this point to touch on the gameplay. The original NieR had somewhat clunky combat, a lot of stopping, starting, you couldn't use magic and melee at the same time, and there wasn't any lock-on, which made hitting enemies really awkward. Not terrible by any means, but not particularly good. NieR Automata's gameplay, on the other hand, is fast, responsive, and just good all around, allowing you to slice and blast enemies in tandem, which allows for an almost symbiotic relationship between 2B and her pod. NieR Replicant feels like a nice in-between between the two styles of combat. While Replicant's combat isn't as fast-paced as Automata's, its gameplay has been redefined into a smooth, satisfying symbiotic style between NieR and the grimoire accompanying him. Speaking of the gameplay, this opening part right here is a great way to hype up the abilities you'll acquire throughout the game as a little taste of what's to come. Following the Shade's defeat, NieR goes to check on his little sis, who did the unthinkable. She found a cookie, everybody! She also starts coming out with a nasty case of dark foreboding text scrawling across her body. Damn it, Cookie, I trusted you, you menace. Turns out Yona had a similar train of thought and wished to help her brother by, you guessed it, touching the creepy book, leading her to collapse and our dear NieR just left to scream for help all by himself.
We need help. Please, somebody, we need help! Help us! Oh, Yona. All right, I'm heading out.
1412 years later, and we're reintroduced to NieR, who's not only alive, but seems to be thriving in a village with Yona, doing odd jobs for the townsfolk to make enough money to treat Yona's illness. For this, we seek out the aid of Devila and Popola, the twin sisters who act as guardians for the town. Well, Devila is more of a bard than a mayor, but she's great all the same. These two act as parental figures to NieR and Yona since they don't seem to have any parents around, supposedly dying before the events of the game.
Popola, this is way too much.
Well then, buy some for Yona while you're at it.
You don't have to...
It's okay. Really.
Thanks, Popola. For everything.
What's this all about?
Just the way you and the other villagers always take care of us. We really appreciate it is all.
Think nothing of it. People need to look out for each other, right?
NieR is tasked with some simple work, such as killing sheep for their delicious mutton and collecting herbs. While doing so, shades are spotted outside the village, which NieR promptly carves in twain. Upon returning to our home to check on Yona, we tell her a little bedtime story about an incredibly rare flower known as a lunar tear, which is said to grant the wishes of anyone who can find one, or make them rich beyond belief. There's honestly two different tellings of this story, which they could use to afford any medicine in the world.
Well, Popola told me about a legendary flower called a lunar tear. Have you heard of it?
That's a silly name.
I guess. But people say finding one will make you rich beyond your wildest dreams.
Could a lunar tear make me better?
Sure. With that kind of money, we could buy the best medicine around. The kind that'll cure anything.
The following day, after the usual shade patrol, we return home to find Yona is missing. When asking Popola about it, she informs us that she may have gone to the Lost Shrine, where she was told that lunar tears may grow.
Oh, crap.
What's wrong?
Yesterday, I told her that story about how lunar tears can make you rich.
You don't think she...
I think that's exactly what she did.
So we give chase finding her ribbon along the way, which puts a pit in young NieR's stomach, more or less confirming Yona's whereabouts.
I can't believe this. She really went to the Lost Shrine.
We follow the trail to the shade-infested tower, where eventually we find Yona unconscious behind a magical barrier. We find off a seemingly endless barrage of shades, until we destroy part of a magic barrier containing our first intrepid companion.
For the love of all that is holy, would you please stop pounding me?
Then move!
This is Vice.
You will refer to me by my full and proper name.
As the mad formal book was saying, he is Grimoire Vice. His function is to allow NieR to cast magic through him, starting with a simple bullet-like projectile Dark Blast, and later into the fight gaining access to Dark Lance. With our two titular companions teaming up, they slay the mini shades and skewer of statues, and dispel the magical barrier to rescue our poor sister.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. I just wanted to help.
I'm the one who's sorry. You must have been scared out of your mind. Are you okay?
Perhaps we'd best depart, hmm? You're faster than I thought.
I tried. I really did. But I couldn't find a lunar tear. And I'm so sorry. I just wanted to make you rich. And get rid of this disease. I'm sorry.
Don't worry about... Yona? What's going on?
Yona has a disease known as the Black Scrawl, an illness which is almost certainly fatal to the afflicted, and the knowledge of this is tearing our sweet boy up inside, and Vice, in a moment of genuine empathy, wishes he could help her, which, as it turns out, may not be too far from a realm of possibility.
This is so unfair. Yona hasn't done anything. Why do terrible things keep happening to us?
I would gladly help the lass had I the means to do so.
We go talk to twin moms, and they give us a story about our floating companion that gives us some hope of curing Yona's terminal illness.
Wait, you're Grimoire Vice? Oh, that is so cool.
Hold on, what? You know him?
Of course. He's the white book I was just singing about.
He's in your song?
Yeah, the Song of the Ancients. It's an old tune that's been passed down through generations of villagers. Yes, well, the Song of the Ancients. Let's see. When the great black book, Grimoire Noir, brings calamity upon the world, the white book, Grimoire Vice, will appear with his sealed verses. He will then use them to vanquish Grimoire Noir and purge the calamity he wrought, or so the legend goes.
And like that, we're sent off on a new adventure to track down the sealed verses, which apparently will give us a cure for Yona. And we're directed by Popola to the Eyrie, as apparently plenty of shades have been spotted there recently, and hopefully we'll run into a powerful one to collect these sealed verses. We arrive, and this village is just... well... definitely in need of some safety rails. Seriously, how do these people not fall to their deaths on a regular basis? Speaking of the area, I'd like to take this moment to talk about the game's OST. You see, this OST is very interesting in that it can both invigorate me to go on a quest of a lifetime, and scare the ever-living shit out of me. I'm not kidding, the Ares theme gives me such a huge sense of unease that I can barely walk around without thinking I'm gonna be jumped at any point. But that's why I love this OST so much. Its ability to invoke such strong emotions in me, which also helps to amplify the mood of the story beautifully. Just listen to the song and tell me that it doesn't make you feel a big sense of dread. After trying to find Amir's house for a good 20 minutes, he promptly tells us to fuck off and die without so much as a how do you do.
Wait, listen to...
Enough. Leave this village at once and never return.
What a pathetic bunch of rabble.
So giving up on that lead, we make our way back to the plains when a reef made of lunar tears stops NieR in his tracks. And we're introduced to mine and many people's favorite character in the whole game.
Hands off the flowers.
Vice? Why's that lady in her underwear?
I fear we have greater issues to deal with.
Wait, is she a shade?
Meet Kaine, the ferocious foul-mouthed warrior who's been possessed by a shade, although she seems to have some control over it as she uses it to cast magic in a similar vein to Vice, with her and the shade having a similar symbiotic relationship I mentioned earlier of sorts. But we'll get more into that later. Trust me, there are so many layers here I could not possibly go into it right now. Our little tussle is interrupted when a gargantuan shade shows up, which we engage with our new underwear-clad acquaintance. Until she blasts it in the eye and sends it on its way, but not before knocking Kaine out. After we make sure she's all good, we leave Kaine to her devices, and as we leave she tells us that the giant grabby shade over there is hers to kill and not to interfere. With the results of a previous battle wearing on young NieR's mind, he wishes to make his weapons stronger so that he might put up a better fight against powerful shades when they next appear. So we head straight for a facility called the Junk Heap. Right after a spot of fishing! In all seriousness, we need to fish so that we can make pain medicine for Yona, which leads us to Seafront, which incidentally is probably my favorite settlement in the game. There's just something about the aesthetics, atmosphere, a soundtrack that just puts me at a gentle ease. Perhaps a calm before the storm, A quick aside, Yona's interaction with Vice is so fucking precious and makes my heart positively melt.
Hey, what's that book?
Oh yeah, guess I should introduce you.
I am Grimoire Vice, wielder of arcane.
Oh, hi, Vicey.
Now see here, my name is...
Vice has been worried about you too.
Really? Aw, thanks, Vicey.
It appears impudence is the fruit of this family tree.
All that aside, after a chill evening with Lil Sis, we head to the Junk Heap, where we meet Jacob and annoying Gideon, the owners of Two Brothers Weaponry. Well, them and their mother, who's been missing for a while now. After putting the kibosh on some machines and gathering their insides for materials, we use them to upgrade our nameless blade. But as it turns out, NieR's a sweetheart who can't say no to struggling folk with family drama, so we go look for the boy's mother after loud twat over here basically demands it.
I wanna find Mom!
Is everything okay?
I'm sorry. He's impatient for our mom to come back and thinks we should go look for her. We just need to wait, okay? She'll be back soon. I don't wanna wait! I wanna find Mom!
Vice?
Yes.
And this actually gives us a bit of insight into NieR himself, as he angrily rebukes any possibility of the boy's mother being dead, which gives me an idea about how family is important to NieR on a deeper level.
Yona and I both know what it feels like to miss your mother.
We fight past more machines, have a quick minecart bullet hell section, and get to Floaty McLaserhands over here, who we quickly blow up with some spicy meat bombs.
It's working!
Unbelievable. Such an obvious weak point.
Haha, fourth wall break. Blowing up a mechanical menace, we cross the bridge and find the boy's mother, but sadly it's too late, she's dead along with this fellow. Turns out she was planning to straight up abandon her kids for this guy. If you ask me, she probably should have picked a safer route than the robot-infested heap, but hey, she paid for it and left a hefty tip. All NieR can do now is break the news to the boys about their recently deceased mother. However, you can either tell them the truth or lie, telling them you couldn't find her. In this playthrough, I went with the latter option, but I'll go into why much later. Either option leads to a heart-wrenching scene.
Did she die alone?
Well...
It's okay. I know all about it. Just tell me, did she die with the one she loved?
We found 2 bodies.
Mom was always so frustrated, you know? Torn between her duty to us and her heart. I think maybe this is for the best.
Are you saying you forgive her?
I mean, she's my mom, you know? The only one I'll ever have.
We found this next to her.
This is Mom's perfume. It smells like her. Damn it. I can't let myself cry. If Gideon sees me like this... Damn it.
With our weapon freshly sharpened, the brothers bid us adieu, and we return to the Eyrie, finding Kaine going up against quite a few shades. So with NieR's newfound confidence, we give her a hand.
The hell are you doing here?
We thought you could use a hand.
Yes, and I do believe a heartfelt thank you is in order,
Yeah, that's not happening.
What could have caused these shades to appear in such force?
I don't know, but they're all over the village, too.
Then we need to go help. We might be able to find a sealed verse while we're at it.
With no time to waste, we rush to the cliff-bound village to fight off the shades, but our jiggly-chinned friend returns for round 2. One of my favorite things about this part of the game is NieR's innocent reaction to Kaine's foul language.
Rot in hell, you fucking asshole!
Did you just say what I think you said?
At any rate, this boss fight requires us to damage the shade known as Hook before it leaps into a different level of the village. And we have to give chase, repeatedly. Which isn't too bad if you know the layout of the area, but still a bit of a pain in the hole if you ask me. Regardless, we eventually get to this iconic scene where Hook releases gas which causes Kaine to hallucinate the voice of someone who's long dead.
Kaine, it's me, Grandma. Oh, how you've grown.
Kaine, what's wrong?
Oh, it gladdens my heart to finally see you again.
Grandma?
Come, Kaine. Come to your grandma's side. You've been lonely for so long. So much pain, so much despair. Why go on living anymore? Kaine?
Is that it?
Hmm?
Are you finished yet?
Don't speak to your grandma like...
You're going to stop talking now. And then I'm going to slowly walk over to you, cram my hand inside your goddamn bitch-ass chest, and pull out your fucking heart!
With Hook's huge error in judgment, Kaine is enraged, and with her help we plus Ultra Hook, impaling him in the process. And with this, Kaine's revenge has been realized, who now seems content to just die where she lies.
Kaine!
I think she intends to perish where she lies. And in truth, perhaps death is the greatest comfort we can offer her.
That's not your decision. You don't get to decide who lives and who dies. She's alive. She has meaning and worth, and we're going to save her. Everyone has something to live for. Even Kaine. Even even Yona.
Perhaps you should save your pretty words for her instead of wasting them on me.
Grandma, can I rest now? I'm so tired.
Kaine, over here! Don't give up! You're stronger than that! Don't you dare give up now!
This woman is more trouble than she's worth.
That's it! Come on!
Hey, you made it to the end of the video. This is a little impromptu obligatory thanks for watching, and if you want to see more, be sure to subscribe to LoreKeeper Love, ring that dingly dangly, and part 2 won't be coming up immediately. I want to take my time with this. I played through NieR so much, but I don't want to get burned out, so next video I'm planning is a little quickie review of World of Final Fantasy, so look forward to that in the coming weeks. Alright, thanks again for watching, and I'll bid you a very good night.